walk into a beautifully designed physical space, like a massive modern library or maybe a high-end retail store, you immediately feel it.
Wow, absolutely.
Yeah, your eyes are just sort of naturally drawn to the light,
Mhm.
and the layout gently guides you toward the main displays.
Wow.
Even the acoustics somehow encourage you to linger just a little bit longer.
Right, it feels completely organic to you, the visitor.
Exactly.
Huh.
But every single element of that was calculated, mapped out. It was engineered by an architect to make you behave in a very specific way.
I mean, it is the invisible architecture of human behavior. You experience the seamless result, but you rarely get to actually look at the underlying blueprint.
And today, we are taking a deep dive into an entirely different kind of architecture. We are looking at the digital economy.
Which is a massive topic.
It really is. So, to the listener, the learner, if you are listening to this while trying to figure out, why your company's online ads are bleeding money, or if you're prepping to pitch a massive strategy in a boardroom,
Or even if you're just fiercely curious about how the internet shapes every single purchase you make.
yes, this mission is for you. We are decoding the invisible architecture of the digital world, drawing on the comprehensive insights from the book, Digital Marketing Strategy by Simon Kingsnorth.
It's such a compelling premise, too, because when you strip away all the jargon, digital marketing is not just about throwing a few banners on a screen or chasing the latest social media trend.
Right.
It is an intricate, highly calculated discipline. I mean, it is classic economics meeting deeply rooted human psychology, all operating inside this technological landscape that changes literally by the hour.
Okay, let's unpack this,
Okay.
because a lot of people assume digital marketing is basically just making sure your brand has a Twitter account, or maybe paying for some Google ads and calling it a day.
Yeah, that's a very common misconception.
But the source material argues the biggest reason companies completely fail online is because they treat digital as this quarantined silo,
Yeah.
totally separate from their core business operations.
That silo is the ultimate trap. I mean, companies often hire a digital team, put them in a corner, and just expect magic.
Right, like go do the internet stuff.
Exactly. But the reality is that the foundational rules of marketing, the absolute bedrock principles, they haven't changed one bit since the Mad Men era.
Really? Not at all.
No, only the application has changed. Take the classic 4 Ps of marketing, product, price, place, and promotion.
Oh yeah, Marketing 101.
Right. They absolutely still dictate who wins and loses in the digital world. Let's break those down, starting with product.
Okay.
In the physical world, a product is a static thing. But in the digital space, it isn't just what you sell, it's the behavioral motivation behind how it is consumed.
Okay, so it's about the why, not just the what.
Yes. The source uses this brilliant example of 3 different people interacting with the exact same music album.
I love this example. So consider John. He buys a physical CD or a vinyl record because he is a loyal, long-term fan. Right? He wants to proudly display it on a shelf.
Right, it's a collector's behavior.
Yeah. Then you have Maria, who downloads the exact same album digitally. Her motivation is utility. I mean, she wants to own the music, but needs to free up physical space in her apartment and storage space on her phone.
Exactly. And finally, you have Robin. He streams the album on a subscription service because he doesn't care about ownership at all. He just wants to temporarily curate specific tracks into playlists based on his mood.
So it is the exact same product, the same collection of songs, but 3 entirely different consumer psychologies.
And if your digital team doesn't understand those differing motivations, your messaging will miss the mark completely.
That makes total sense.
Right.
And then there's price. The internet essentially stripped away geographic monopolies and created this, hyper price sensitivity.
Oh, massively.
You have cashback sites, browser extensions that automatically hunt for promo codes, affiliate links. Brands are suddenly forced to adapt to an army of bargain hunters.
Bargain hunters who can compare prices globally in about 3 seconds.
Right, which completely shifts the power dynamic between the corporation and the buyer.
It really does. And the last 2 Ps, place and promotion, have undergone a similar kind of compression. Place used to mean spending an absolute fortune to build your shop on the busiest street corner in town.
Location, location, location.
Exactly. Today, your location is your search engine ranking. If you aren't on page 1, you essentially built your flagship store in the middle of a desert.
Nobody's going to find it.
Nope. And promotion has shrunk from a captive 30-second television ad into a 100-character snippet on a mobile screen that a user scrolls past in less than a second.
Okay, so if digital is just another flavor of traditional marketing, Isn't an affiliate marketer essentially just a modern-day door-to-door salesman?
How do you mean?
Well, they only get paid when they make a sale, they rely on aggressive promotion, and they probably don't care about the customer's long-term brand loyalty. I mean, they just want the quick commission.
That's a really interesting point. But the danger with the door-to-door salesman analogy is what happens after the sale.
Right.
Affiliate marketing is brilliant for quick customer acquisition, but those customers are often pure deal hunters. They are inherently disloyal because they follow the discount, not your brand.
Ah, so they won't stick around unless you give them another discount.
Exactly. To retain them, you need entirely different customer relationship management or CRM strategies than you would for a customer who found you organically.
Which goes back to the silo thing.
Yes, this is exactly why the silo effect is so toxic to a business.
Because the digital acquisition team isn't talking to the retention team.
Precisely. A siloed digital team might pop champagne to celebrate a massive record-breaking spike in affiliate sales this month. They hit their target.
But the CRM team is panicking.
Right, because if the CRM team doesn't know these are highly sensitive bargain hunters, they won't nurture them properly. Those customers never return.
So the core business actually suffers from a terrible customer lifetime value. They're bleeding money on acquisition costs, all while the digital team looks incredibly successful on paper.
That is the ultimate danger of the silo. The entire ecosystem has to be integrated.
Wow. Okay, so if classic marketing frameworks like the 4Ps still govern the strategy, then classic economic frameworks must also dictate the competitive landscape online, right?
They absolutely do. The source brings up Michael Porter's Five Forces, which is a classic economic model from 1979 used to analyze industry competition.
Okay.
In the digital age, the most dramatic upheaval has happened within one specific force, the bargaining power of buyers.
Because the consumer basically holds all the cards now.
Exactly.
Okay.
The shift from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 is what handed them those cards. Think of the internet before Web 2.0 as a giant digital magazine.
You just read it.
Right. It was a broadcast medium, a company shouted their message, and the consumer passively consumed it. But Web 2.0 handed every single reader a printing press. It became a dialogue.
Right, through social media, forums, and peer review sites.
A buyer simply will not purchase a product today if the online reviews are poor, no matter how much the company spends on advertising.
That's so true. I always check the reviews first.
We all do. The buyer's ability to demand better prices, better products, and better customer service is higher than at any point in human history because they can publicly destroy a brand's reputation with a smartphone.
Which means companies have to be fiercely analytical about where they spend their budget to reach these empowered buyers. They can't just throw money at every digital channel and hope something sticks.
No, they can't. Which leads into another classic business framework the source adapts, the Boston Consulting Group matrix, the BCG matrix.
The BCG matrix.
Yeah.
Okay, I always pictured this matrix for physical inventory. Like a reliable classic car model that sells steadily every year is your cash cow.
Right.
And a crazy new electric prototype is your question mark.
Right.
But the source applies this directly to digital marketing channels.
Yes. The BCG matrix traditionally maps products based on market share and market growth into 4 quadrants: stars, cash cows, dogs, and question marks.
So if we treat digital channels like a financial portfolio, you're doing resource triage.
Resource triage is a great way to look at it. Let's map it out. A cash cow in the digital space might be your email marketing list.
Because you already own the list.
Exactly. It costs very little to maintain, it has a massive market share of your current audience, and it quietly generates steady, high-margin revenue.
Okay, what about a dog?
A dog might be a poorly targeted banner ad campaign. It has low growth, low engagement, and it's just draining your budget. You need to cut it.
And a question mark would be something like starting a brand new SEO strategy or jumping onto a new social media platform.
Right. You are eating up time and money with incredibly uncertain results, but the entire goal is to nurture it until it transitions into a high-growth star.
So why is this matrix so important for a digital marketer?
Because if you are sitting in a boardroom asking the CFO for a massive digital budget and you cannot prove where your proposed digital channels sit on that matrix, you will be laughed out of the room.
You can't just ask for capital based on vibes.
No, or just because a channel is trendy. The BCG matrix forces a digital marketer to prove the underlying economic value of their strategy.
Okay, but having a matrix is great in theory. It looks clean on a PowerPoint slide. But implementing it is where businesses hit massive, real-world brick walls.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the moment you introduce actual human beings into the equation, things get messy.
They do. The source outlines several distinct human-centric barriers to innovation. First is technology adoption. Everett Rogers developed a famous adoption curve showing how populations accept new ideas.
Right. You have your tiny fraction of innovators, then early adopters, the early majority, the late majority, and finally the laggards.
Yes. And businesses often struggle to gain internal support to adopt new tech because middle management fears being the innovator who fails.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge career risk in sticking your neck out for an unproven platform. If it fails, it's on you.
Exactly. Add to that the massive skills gaps. When a fundamentally new digital channel emerges, there are no 10-year experts. They don't exist yet.
So you have to decide, do you pause operations to upskill your current team? Or do you undergo a slow, expensive recruitment process to find native talent?
Right. And hovering over all of this is the ever-present limit of budget and time. You can't do everything at once.
Which requires strict project management. The text emphasizes tools like Gantt charts to map out the critical path of delivery.
Yes, the critical path is essential.
To put that in perspective for you, the listener, think of a Gantt chart like mapping out the exact sequence of dominoes that need to fall to finish a project.
That's a good visual.
Right. So if the design team's domino doesn't fall by Tuesday, the coding team's domino can't fall on Thursday, and the whole launch collapses.
That sequential dependency is the critical path. You have to prove how you will navigate those dominoes within your constraints. This is where planning methodologies become paramount.
Right.
The text contrasts two primary types of planning: vision-based planning and real-time planning.
Okay, break those down.
Vision-based planning is your classic, rigid, 3 to 5 year corporate roadmap. You establish a vision, set long-term goals, build a formal document, and lock in the resources.
And real time.
Real-time planning is completely fluid. It is an ongoing, undocumented process that adapts month by month to new technologies and sudden shifts in consumer behavior.
Okay, I have to push back on the vision-based approach here.
Go for it.
If the digital world changes every few months, I mean, look at how the smartphone completely flipped the internet from desktop to mobile almost overnight. Why would anyone ever use a rigid 5-year plan?
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah. Shouldn't every single digital company just operate real time to survive?
Real-time planning sounds incredibly agile and modern, but it has a fatal flaw in the real business world. Traditional finance departments and external investors do not operate in real time.
Oh.
They operate on annual fiscal calendars. Without a documented, formal plan, it is incredibly hard to communicate your strategy to a traditional board of directors.
Right, because they want to see where their money is going for the next 3 years.
Exactly. If you walk into a funding pitch and say, well, we don't have a structured 5-year plan, we're just going to remain agile and react to the market, you risk looking entirely unprofessional.
The board won't release the capital you need to keep the lights on.
Exactly. So it's this classic clash of the agile tech mindset versus traditional corporate finance. You have to speak the language of the boardroom to get the budget, even if you know the internet is going to force you to change the plan anyway.
But traditional finance demands rigid plans, and the internet routinely mocks rigid plans. I mean, sometimes the absolute most impactful digital marketing isn't planned in a boardroom at all.
No, it often slips past corporate control completely. Let's look at the viral phenomenon.
The white whale of digital marketing.
Yeah.
Every executive wants a campaign to go viral, but you can't just put that on a Gantt chart.
You really can't. The text highlights two massively successful case studies. The Ice Bucket Challenge, which raised $98.2 million in a single month for ALS.
Wow.
And the No Makeup Selfie, which raised £8 million for cancer research in just 6 days.
And neither of these were meticulously designed or planned by the charities themselves in a boardroom, right?
No, they caught on and evolved wildly through the sheer chaos of social media.
So what was the mechanism? If you can't engineer it with a 5-year plan, what actually makes a campaign explode like that?
The core components were deeply human, not technological. The text identifies 4 pillars. First, charity. People generally want to help others, but need a simple vehicle to do so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, selflessness. The internal psychological reward, the good feeling that comes from contributing to a cause.
Right.
Third, simplicity. The action required was incredibly easy to understand and execute with a smartphone camera. And fourth, surprisingly, vanity.
Wait, vanity. That seems contradictory for a charity campaign.
It is actually the accelerant. Human beings crave social currency, showing your peer group how generous you are, or posting a video of yourself dumping ice water on your head to show you are a good sport.
Or Posting a raw, unfiltered photo of your face to demonstrate vulnerability.
Exactly. There is an undeniable element of vanity in wanting to broadcast your participation to an audience. Social media simply provided the frictionless infrastructure for those basic psychological traits to scale globally in a matter of hours.
That is fascinating. It really just scales human nature. Now, if viral marketing is the unpredictable emotional magic of the internet, then search engine optimization SEO has to be the ultimate test of merging corporate planning with real-time adaptation.
Without a doubt.
Because SEO is a landscape where the underlying rules are literally rewritten by algorithms without warning.
SEO is arguably the digital discipline where a little outdated knowledge is truly dangerous. If you don't understand the mechanisms of how search engines operate today, you can unintentionally destroy your own website's visibility.
So let's trace that timeline to understand where we are today.
Okay, so pre-2003 was the absolute Wild West of SEO.
Just total chaos.
Completely. Search engines were highly manipulable. Rankings were dictated almost entirely by on-page factors. Webmasters would use keyword stuffing, just repeating a target word hundreds of times at the bottom of a page.
Oh, well.
They would even use hidden text, making the font the exact same color as the background, just to trick the primitive algorithm into thinking the page was highly relevant.
It was the digital equivalent of just screaming your own name the loudest to get attention in a crowded room.
Exactly. But that worked until the era of 2004 to 2011, kicked off by Google's Florida update.
What change?
The loopholes for hidden text were closed, and the algorithm evolved to analyze relationships between sites. Link building took center stage.
So it became about who was linking to you.
Right. The logic was, if other sites are linking to your website, you must be authoritative. So sheer volume of links ruled, specifically the anchor text, the actual clickable words and the hyperlink. If 10,000 spammy websites link to your page using the exact words used cars, the algorithm would rank you #1 for used cars, regardless of how terrible your actual website was.
So instead of screaming the loudest, people just built massive fake networks of robots to point at them.
Which led to the watershed moment in 2011 and 2012. Google released 2 massive algorithmic updates that destroyed those manipulative networks almost overnight: Panda and Penguin.
Okay, break down how Panda and Penguin actually changed the mechanism of search.
The Panda update fundamentally disrupted the industry because it targeted thin, low-quality content. It stopped looking purely at the math of keywords and started analyzing proxies for human behavior.
Like what?
Like, if a user clicked on your website, realized the content was garbage, and immediately clicked the back button, a metric known as a high bounce rate. Panda recognized that the human was unsatisfied, and it penalized your ranking.
And what about Penguin?
Penguin, releasing shortly after, aggressively targeted all those paid, unnatural link networks.
So early SEO was essentially like playing keyword bingo with a robot. You just jammed the right words into the machine.
Yeah, pretty much.
But because of Panda and Penguin, it evolved into a matchmaking service. I mean, you can't just trick the algorithm into setting you up on a date anymore. You actually have to be an interesting person when the user shows up.
That is the perfect way to frame it.
You have to be the genuinely best answer to their problem.
Yes, you cannot bypass human value with technical shortcuts anymore. This raises a critical question for anyone creating online content. Are you building for a machine, or are you building for a human?
Right, because if you build for the human, the machine will eventually figure out a way to reward you.
Which leads to the source's golden rule for modern keyword research. Do not start your SEO strategy by looking at keywords. Do not start by exporting spreadsheets of search volume data.
Wait, how do you do search engine optimization without starting with what people are typing into the search engine?
You start by building human personas. You map out the exact customer you are trying to reach. Understand the reality of their daily life.
Oh, I see.
Are they a time-poor executive, a budget-conscious student? What are their real-world constraints? What problems are keeping them awake at night?
And then what?
Then, once you understand them deeply as a human being, you deduce what natural language they would use to ask a question. If you start with the human persona, your SEO strategy aligns perfectly with the ultimate goal of Google's algorithm, which is simply to serve the human.
And that pulls SEO completely out of the technical silo and drops it right back into classic empathetic marketing.
Exactly. And Money Supermarket. They're a massive financial services comparison site in the UK.
Financial services is a brutally competitive, expensive space to try and rank for.
It is incredibly saturated, yet Money Supermarket succeeded in dominating high-volume search terms, and they didn't do it through secret black hat coding tricks.
How did they do it?
They did it by completely dissolving the organizational barriers inside their company. They physically and structurally dismantled the silos, separating their SEO team, their social media team, and their content writers.
Wow.
They merged them all into one unified organic performance team.
Let's look at the mechanics of that. How does putting those people in the same room actually change the output?
Well, the SEO team no longer just handed a list of keywords to the writers. Instead, the SEO analysts uncovered the specific questions the personas were asking.
Right.
The content team then wrote deeply informative, human-centric articles answering those exact questions. Then the social media team took that high-quality content and used the natural language identified by the SEO team to distribute it online.
And because the content was genuinely useful, real people naturally linked back to it.
Exactly. Generating authentic, high-quality backlinks. Those real backlinks signaled authority to Google, which boosted the SEO rankings further.
It created a self-sustaining flywheel. The data informs the writing. The writing fuels the social sharing. The sharing builds the links boost the data. It all comes full circle.
It really does.
Breaking the silo isn't just a trendy corporate buzzword. It is literally the mechanical blueprint for winning the digital economy.
Integration is the only sustainable way to win when the algorithms are actively punishing manipulation.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's synthesize this deep dive. Whether you are building a global e-commerce brand or you are just trying to understand why certain personalized ads seem to follow you across the internet.
Or why that one local coffee shop always pops up first on your phone maps.
Exactly. The key takeaway here is profound. Digital marketing is not a separate nerdy tech silo. It isn't just a collection of code, cookies, and banner ads. It is a deeply human, fundamentally integrated business strategy.
Yes.
It relies on century-old economic principles, deep empathy for the consumer's motivations, and the operational agility to adapt.
It demands that you know exactly who you are talking to and that you offer them genuine, frictionless value in the exact moment they are looking for it.
So next time you see a seemingly random brand go massively viral on your feed, or you search for a complex service and find an article that answers your exact question perfectly, you will know. You won't just see the polished result on the screen. You will recognize the economic and strategic gears turning behind it. You will see the invisible architecture.
I want to leave you with one final conceptual thought to mull over, building on the evolution of those SEO algorithms we just discussed.
Okay, let's hear it.
We spent the first 2 decades of the internet trying to teach human beings how to speak to machines. We learned to type in broken, robotic, exact match keywords and manipulate metadata just to be understood by a server.
That's true, we did.
But as algorithms continuously evolve to prioritize genuine human engagement, measuring things like bounce rates and natural language, we are entering a totally new era, an era where the machines are finally learning to speak human.
That flips the entire relationship upside down.
If the ultimate final goal of an algorithm is to perfectly mimic human preference, then trying to optimize for a search engine will eventually just mean being the absolute best, most helpful version of yourself.
That is a staggering thought. The digital blueprint is finally starting to look exactly like us. The architecture of the internet is being redesigned, and it turns out we are the blueprint. Keep learning, keep questioning, and we will see you on the next deep dive.